Hello, world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Jojo Angel from Accra, Ghana, Africa. Welcome once again to our software development training. Today we are on lesson 3, HTML tags and element. From lesson 1 and 2, we said a software is a series of instructions that tells the computer what to do. We also said that a website or a web app is a piece of software on the web that runs in the browser via the internet. We got to know that software developers create code that make up a software. And then we concluded that HTML is the language used for creating web applications. From our previous lesson, we did a short practical in which we created an HTML document. From that exercise, we heard of HTML tags. In today's lesson, we are taking a deeper look at what an HTML tag is and then introduce what we call HTML element. I hope you are ready for today's lesson. Then let's proceed. What you should expect today. In today's lesson, we will briefly look at what is an HTML tag and then move on to find out what is an HTML element. And then the rest of the lesson will be on practical. We will pick a number of HTML tags and see how to implement them. As usual, we will have some time for questions, suggestions, and any comment. I promise you, you're going to love this lesson too. So come along, let's dive into it. What is an HTML tag? An HTML tag is a special HTML keyword or character that form the basic building block of an HTML document. That is to say that to create an HTML document, we need to put down some special characters or words. Mostly, these keywords are surrounded by left and right angle. That is HTML's way of building its document. The special word that is surrounded by left and right angle is what we refer to as an HTML tag. Usually, HTML tags comes in pairs. We have the opening tag and the closing tag. You can also see the starting tag and then the ending tag. The opening or starting tag is of the form left angle, name, and right angle. Here, name refers to the keyword that is used as the tag. And then the closing or ending tag is of the same form, only that we introduce a forward slash right after the left angle and before the name. So it becomes left angle, forward slash, name, and right angle. I know you are confused by now, but don't worry, let's proceed. You may understand when we get to the practicals. Now let's look at what is an HTML element. As I said, HTML tags comes in pairs, an opening and then a closing tag. That should inform you that in between these two tags, something exists. That is what we call the content. In fact, HTML content is actually what you see on the web page. So we can say that in HTML, we have an opening tag, a closing tag, and then in between them, there is a content. Now, this statement is what we call HTML element. Therefore, a pair of HTML tag enclosing an HTML content is referred to as an HTML element, which is usually of the form opening tag, content, and then closing tag. So, comparing to the English language writing, we can say that a tag is equal to a word, and then an element is also equal to a sentence. With that understanding, we can conclude that a tag is the basic building block of an HTML document, whereas an element is the smallest meaningful part of an HTML document. Here the keyword is meaningful. Alright, so that is briefly for HTML tag and HTML element. I believe when we move on to some practical work, you may get more understanding of these two concepts. Alright, let's open our IDE and practice some coding. We will look at some basic HTML tags and how they are constructed to form HTML elements. So within the next 10 minutes, we will be looking at the HTML tag, the head tag, the body tag, the title tag, and some meta tags. Are you ready? Come along. Alright, so it's time for coding. So you're gonna open your working directory, SDT 2122. If you already don't have it, then I'll urge you to go back to lesson 1 and 2, where we created this folder and created what is in there. Okay, so you right click anywhere in the folder and select code. That opens up for you. However, if code is not part of that list, then I'll urge you to move to the Start button and search for code. Yeah, so code appears on the list, then you click to open. Now, when it opens up, you use open folder option, and then you look out for our working folder, and then you choose select folder. Okay, so let's maximize it. All right, this is where we left in the previous lesson. We created a skeleton of an HTML document. In today's exercise, we're going to understand what these elements are. If you have already followed the lesson this far, I've spoken about HTML tag. Now, HTML tag is a keyword we use to represent HTML code. So the first keyword is HTML itself. So that is the opening tag in an HTML document. And then we have the head and the body. So we're going to consider an HTML document as a human being or as an object which has a head and a body. That is the standard. With that said, the head is actually more like the engine house for the HTML document. It contains the title and other items or elements that controls the rest of the body. So in that sense, The body is actually what we see when we visit any website. And the engine house manipulating or controlling the body is housed in the head. As I said earlier, an HTML tag usually comes in pairs. We have the opening tag and then the closing tag. And in between the two, we have the content. Also note that the content of an HTML element may also be an HTML element. In fact, you can have multiple elements within another element. So as you can see, this is an opening tag, this is a closing tag, and these are the content, which indeed they are also other HTML elements. Therefore, we can say that this is a parent element and the head and the body are children element to the HTML element. We can say the title is a grandchild to the HTML. Same way H1 is a grandchild to HTML element. So an HTML element may have a parent, siblings, and children. Siblings in the sense that, as you can see, the head and the body all are children of HTML tag. So therefore, head and body are siblings. Don't get them confused. HTML tag is a keyword for representing an HTML document. We bring tags together to form an element. That is to say, a tag comes in pairs, the beginning tag and the ending tag. And in between them, we have the content. The content itself can also be an HTML element. So you may have an HTML element inside an HTML element. You can even have multiple HTML elements inside a single HTML element. So we are talking about parent-child-sibling relationship over here. Now let's look at some items that may go into the head. We have the title already. Now we have something we call meta. This meta tag is used to describe the HTML document. For example, we can describe this HTML document to hold a character set of UTF-8. So I type char set to represent character set. That is the standard. Now, what is UTF-8? Representing text on the internet or on the web, we have something we call character encoding. That is what helps us to represent various languages on the internet. So those languages that belong to the Latin family, we call them UTF-8 character set. If you do not set the character set properly, sometimes certain elements may not load correctly. So that is about the meta tag for setting the character set. Meta char set equals UTF-8. They are actually standard, so you're gonna learn them. But if you are listening to me, then probably you are an English speaker, so UTF-8 is your way to go. Okay, so to wrap up this exercise, we looked at the HTML element, which is divided into two main parts, the head and the body. And then we look at the HTML head, which I said contains items or elements that controls the HTML body. Usually on the web side, things within the head may not show, with the exception of title, and sometimes an icon, which usually appears in the title bar of the browser. Apart from that, the rest of the items in the HTML head do not visibly show. Now, the HTML body is actually the part of the HTML document that we see when we visit any web app. So, what it means is that our real coding and designing of our web application will come in the body. All right, you might be wondering why I leave spaces or what we call paragraph spacing or indented spaces. Now, it is for readability. That is for a developer to be able to read his code very well and understand what is happening. It is always advisable to indent your subsequent inner element. The word is subsequent inner element. I mean children to an element. So as you can see, HTML is the beginning element, so therefore it is on the beginning of the line. However, its two children, head and body, have one indent available. An indent may be 3 or 4 or sometimes 2 space bars, depending on your standard of coding. However, bear in mind that some programming languages use the indent. A language like Python does so. So it's always advisable to indent your subsequent child element properly. Also note that elements that are siblings to each other are on the same level of indentation. As you can see, head and body are on the same level. Meta and title are on the same level. However, children are indented on different level. Okay, so that is it for this section. We will come back for more exercises. All right. Hope you enjoyed that lesson. Okay, let's move on. We are still coding. Now, this time around, let's look at how we can connect HTML page to other external pages or object. I mean, when you are working on one HTML page, there is sometimes the need to connect to some external sources. For example, images, videos, CSS file, JavaScript file, and what have you. There are HTML tags purposely for helping us connect to external objects. Let's look at some of them. All right, welcome back to the coding session. During this session, we're going to look at how to connect an HTML page to external files or external object. Okay, so to do that, let's add a folder to our website. So you move to the left pane, look for new folder icon and click on it. Okay, so I have a folder space here. I'm going to name it assets. Yeah, assets. Alternatively, you can right click on the space and you can have new folder also available on the context menu. They all do the same function. All right, so now inside assets, click on the arrow to the left for it to point down, meaning it is open. Then you can add a file or a folder to it. So I'm going to add a folder to it called images. Okay. Now be extra careful here. When it is only one folder in, it will appear on one line. But one will be selected, meaning that is the opened or active folder. Now I want to add a second folder to asset. So I'll click on asset. Yes, that one is the underlined one now. So I'll go in there and then add another folder for CSS. CSS. Okay, so now I come back and click on Assets, open, and add another folder for JS. Okay, so now we have three folders in Asset: CSS, Images, and JS. Now the CSS folder will hold all the CSS files we will create. The Images folder will hold all the images that we will add to our website. And the JS folder will also hold all the JS files we will add to our website. Okay. Now we have made room to add an external file to our web page. Let's then look at what is a link. A link is an HTML element that enables us to connect to an external CSS file. A link is an HTML element that enables us to connect to an external CSS file. And it's always ideally advisable to put that in the head element. That is, below here, I'm going to put a link in the head. It's in the CSS. Okay, so I'm going to call it star.css. That is the link I'm going to have. Okay, so to have a link to an external CSS, you create the link element and introduce the href. That stands for hypertext resource file. Hypertext resource file. So I am introducing a new file to this HTML document. And the file is in a folder called CSS. And that CSS is also in a folder called Asset. So we use a / to join folders that are within each other. So folders within each other are typed using /. Moving to the left, that is the outer folder. Moving to the right is the inner folder. So with assets /css /star.css, it means that there is a folder called asset. Inside that folder, there's another folder called CSS. Inside that folder, there's a file by name star.css. As you can see, I don't have that file yet, so I'm going to create it. So I move into the CSS folder, new file, and name it star.css. I just copied from the page and paste it here. So, bam, I have a CSS file created. We will use this file later. Now back to the link. Now, because this is a CSS file, we need to indicate the type of file we are connecting. So it is a text file which contains CSS. Don't worry, just type it. I'll explain. Now we have another attribute called relationship. The attribute names a relationship of the link document to the current document. The link element has an attribute called relationship. It is asking you to tell the HTML document what the relationship it has to the new file we are linking. That is this index.html, and we are linking it to star.css. It is asking us what relationship should exist between them. I'm going to say it is a style sheet. Is that all right? I'm telling the HTML page or document that this file within asset /css star.css, it is a star sheet. So when you are loading it, load it as a star sheet. What about the type? The type is to tell the HTML that when you go into that file, the content there is just a plain text, just text content, and read it as a CSS file. It's getting interesting, I know. Don't worry. We are linking an external CSS to our HTML. This is the standard. Okay, so now let's try to link an image as well. Link an image. Now let's do that below the H1. Why? Because we want the image to show on our website. I don't get it. You remember in our previous lesson, I said that things within the head do not appear on the web page. It is only things that within the body will appear on our web page. So for an image to appear on our website, it must be within the body. Oh, okay, I get it now. Very good. So we're going to add an image, and the tag for adding an image is img, and then we will look for src, and then we move into the asset images, and let's get photo.png. And then if that image does not exist, alternatively type in Jojo. Then let's close the image. All right, so we are linking an image and the tag is img. Hey, wait, why are the closing tags for link and image? Oh yeah, I said tags normally or usually come in pairs. However, there are special tags that do not come in pairs. It's good you have noticed two of them, the link, the image. There are more. We will find out. But wait, why don't they have a pair? Okay, this is it. An element has an opening tag, a closing tag, and a content within. However, not all elements have content within the closing tag and the ending tag. Some elements just have attributes and they are good to go. For example, the link, it only has three attributes: href, type, and rel. These attributes are enough for it to survive. It doesn't need any content within it. So therefore, an element that does not need a content within its pair of tags, it is advisable or is appropriate to do it a single tag and go your way. So we omit the ending tag. However, we need to let the browser know that this is just a single tag element by introducing a / right before the right angle in the opening tag. So for a single tag element, you have the left angle, tag name, some attribute, / right angle. That is enough to form an element. So there is an exception to the rule that an element has an opening tag, a closing tag, and a content within. All right. Right now I don't have that image in that folder. So when we preview, we would not see anything here. Oh, you want to see? Hold on. Let me put an image in that folder so you can see. We move into the folder. We can see that the asset folder created is appearing here. Let's open that. Oh yes, the three folders are also here. Very good. Now let's open the images folder. That is empty. Okay, I'm going to copy one of my images, put it in there, and we will see how it will look like on the browser. Okay, so I have put an image in and named it photo. Photo. Now, when you look at the end here under type, you see it says PNG file. Yeah, that is what we need. PNG file. Okay, so let's go back to the IDE and see how we can link it. Okay, so back to the IDE, we see photo.png. But where from the PNG? Yes, that is the extension of the file. And because we are programming, we value the extension. So the IDE knows that we cherish the extension so much. So it is displaying for us. Don't worry, in the folder browser, you will not see the extension. Don't worry. But the IDE will like you to see it because you need it. Okay, just make sure the name is the same as the name here plus the extension. Are we good? All right, so you want to see how the image will appear. Let's move to our folder, open the index.html and see what the browser will print. Pam pam. Whoa! I can see an image here. Wow! Okay, so that is how we can connect an external image to our website. Okay, so hello world is printed here and the image is below that. Okay, so that is it for connecting an image to our HTML document. Let's look at how we can connect a JavaScript file also to our HTML document. Okay, so we move into our JavaScript folder. I'm going to add some JavaScript there. That is a new file. Let me call it main.js. Why .js? Because I want it to be a JavaScript file, and JS is the extension for JavaScript. Now we're going to connect the JavaScript to our HTML. Sometimes people would like to put it in the head. That is fine, but I don't advise so. Why? Because sometimes your JavaScript will become so huge that it takes time to load the content. And because the browser will load HTML content up down manner, it will wait to load that JavaScript before loading the rest of the page, which will make your page not that ideal. You know, the user will be waiting and nothing is showing up and the JavaScript is taking time to load. It's not ideal. So I want the JavaScript to be the last thing loaded. Okay, so I'm going to add a link to the JavaScript file, and because it's a JavaScript file, we use the keyword script and then a SRC to our set. Okay, I'm using the up down key. Okay, that's it there. If it doesn't give you any help, type it yourself. JavaScript. Hey, I thought it's a special element. No. JavaScript isn't a special element. It is a full element, but we are just using it to connect to an external. Yeah, but JavaScript can be connected this way. However, we can also type the script in between the opening and the closing tag. That is the content place. We can type the script there. Oh, I see. Then what about the CSS? Why can't you also type the content there? Very good. If you want to type the content of CSS just like this, then you use an element called star. Then you can type your content in there. Are we good? We are still linking external files to our HTML object. Now let's see what happens when we are moving from page to page in a website. Oh, you want to know multi-page website? Okay, let's add another page to our website called About. Okay, so This is going to contain something about Jojo Encho. You can also do something about yourself. So as usual, from our first lesson, we will have document type HTML. What did I do? My IDE knows that this is an HTML document. So I'll definitely need the document type at the top there. So the moment let me do it again. The moment I type the left angle, I got a list of HTML tags to use. It's just a helper. We call this helper IntelliSense. That is an intelligent sense. It's a way of helping developers to quickly type their keywords. So you see, the first one is doc type. I just press enter and it does the job for me. That is awesome. Really, really awesome. Now I press enter. I'm going to introduce my HTML. Oh, IntelliSense, you are doing a good job. HTML is there. Press enter. I introduced the right angle and it gave me the closing tag. I just needed to press enter to open space. This IntelliSense is really good. It's going to help us a lot. Okay, then I introduce the head. The head, oh, that is there. Enter. Bam. It closed it for me. I'm going to type in the head title. Is there? Enter. Wow, title. So it's so nice. Okay, about me. Now below the head, we bring the body. Body. Boom. Now this time around, I'm going to use H2. H2. Bam. My name is Jojo Encho. Why H2? Yes, H2 is also another HTML element. In fact, there are about 6 H's. H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. H for header. But what is the difference with the numbers? Now, the smaller the number, the bigger the font size. However, we will deal with H family in another lesson. Today, we just want to link the about page to the index page. Back to the index page, we're going to do some linking. I want that linking to be the first thing so that I will have a link to click to go to the about page. And that is the job of an anchor. Anchor. Will your anchor hold in the storms of strife? Yes, we have an anchor in HTML, but we use the keyword a or a to represent the anchor. And then we are going to give us a resource hypertext. Okay, just like the link. And then I'm going to say about.html. Okay, IntelliSense is doing its job. Voila! Now I close it. It is not a special element. So it has the opening tag, the closing tag, and the content within. This time around, the content is what will appear on the browser. So I'll say about me. Are we good? Let me bring spaces so you see what is happening there. Okay, so we are on the about me. This is anchor or a or a, and the href is telling us the location of the HTML page that we want to open. That means that anchor is used for opening other HTML pages. So on the browser, when the user sees about me, he can click to open the about page. Let's go and see that. Back to our browser, click on the refresh to get the about loaded. Okay, so about me is appearing here. It has an underlining and it changes color. This is to tell me that it is a link to another page. Oh, wow. So this is how links are created on a website. Yeah, we use Anchor. I see. Let's test it. Okay. Bam. Hey, what happened to my page? Oh, look at it here. We are now on the About page. We moved from the index page. Let's go back. Back. Oh, okay. About. Oh, okay. Back. Okay, so today's lesson has been a bit rough, but I know with time you will understand what is happening. This session we looked at how to link external files to our HTML document. We started with the link keyword, which helps us to link an external CSS file to our HTML document. Don't worry, you didn't see it in action and it's effect. When we move to CSS as a topic, you will know what it will happen. But what is this guy doing here? Yes, I said that you can either link it externally or type it right here by using the keyword star. We also learned how to connect an image to our HTML document. And the img keyword is a tag for connecting an image. And then we also connected a script, which is a JavaScript, to our HTML page. All right, that was a hectic exercise, but I believe it was fun too. Okay, let's break here for a while. When we come back, we will have lesson 3, part 2.